Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective. Happy Wednesday. It is Self-Care Wednesday, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Tomorrow is a full moon, so I'm going with the Moonology deck instead of the regular self-care rituals deck, but part of that reason is because today's self-care will be also day 2 of laying this foundation for self-love. So, we'll get to that in a second, but let's just go ahead and start with the Moonology cards and see what we got. Right, tomorrow's a full moon. Tomorrow is a full moon. I really don't know why I repeat everything, but anyways, and we also have the Affirmators deck. So we're going to be going through quite a few today because tomorrow will be a shorter perspective. And I'm sorry if that's loud. I know it's so close to the microphone. But yeah, let's see what we got here, right? Here's one sticking right up there. That will be the one. The one. I don't know. I'm feeling a second one, aren't you? I know, I am too. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's go. Okay. There it is. All right, there we go. No idea what they are yet. They are turned upside down, and then we'll get to we'll start again, like I said, with the setting the foundation, continuing to set the foundations of self-love. And I will go a little more over the Affirmators cards. We had some great cards yesterday. I've already put them away, so I won't be able to go back over them again today, but because of Self-Care Wednesday and because it's also setting the foundation of self-love, I will also explain a few things in case you haven't noticed yet. All right, so anyways, Moonology card. Take time to breathe out. The Disseminating Moon. Take time to breathe out. So a lot of times we'll breathe in and we're just kind of regular breathing, right? Doing all that stuff. But a lot of times we forget to breathe out, to exhale, to truly exhale like you mean it. Not to make yourself fall apart or to pass out or anything, but to exhale all the crap, all the bullshit, right? Just one of those. So let's see. These are all the new moon cards I'm looking for. There we go. Time to breathe out. Disseminating Moon. Excuse me. The intensity of the full moon has abated, and what are we left with? That's what this card is asking you. It suggests that the situation you're asking about has now peaked, and it's time for you to regroup and learn from your experiences rather than blindly forging ahead. Have faith that what is happening is for the best. Try to accept the way things are now and give yourself and others time out to relax. Breathe. We can't be on all the time. Can't be on all the time. Good morning, Ladina. If you feel you've hit an obstacle or even failed in some way, now is the time to reflect on how to do things differently next time. Be honest with yourself if you feel bad about your current situation, and then remind yourself that life goes in cycles. Attune to the moon. I am where I am, and it's okay. You know, a lot of times, I'm going to tie this into our self-love lesson today, even though we're still in the guidance cards, but a lot of times our self-love wanes because we blame ourselves if we're not in a certain place at a certain time. Growth has no time limit. Growth has no age. You know, sometimes it takes us a lot longer than other people to get through what we need to get through, to get through whatever pain it is that we're going through. And when that happens, you know, we'll lose this a little bit of our self-love because we start to put ourselves down. We start not to see who we are. Where you are is okay. Okay, so again, attune to the moon. I am where I am, and it's okay. Now, for anybody that's just joining us, before I get into the self-care lessons today, which are day 2 of setting the foundations of self-love, I'm going through the Moonology cards because tomorrow is a full moon. So the additional meanings for this card: you should know where you stand either now or very soon. You need to take some time out for your own good. It's time for you to share your wisdom and experience with someone else, or avoid falling into a slump, avoid falling into a spiral, a depression, whatever it is. The teaching. The disseminating moon is the first moon phase after the explosion of energy that comes with the full moon. Ooh, that's exciting. So it kind of fits, doesn't it? No matter when you pick this card, it suggests you're at a more tranquil point in the life cycle of whatever situation you're asking about. This is not the ideal time to start something new. The disseminating moon is the time to breathe out. Give yourself some time off and think about what has passed. All right, so that's this one. Take time to breathe out. And the next one, the energy is gaining momentum, the waxing moon. Actually, that's interesting because tomorrow is the full moon, which means that we are literally at the end of the waxing moon phase. That's right, we're at the end of the waxing moon phase. So, let's see, the energy is gaining momentum, which means that tomorrow, bam, you should be right there, right? So, during the waxing moon cycle, hope springs eternal. This card is a very positive omen, indicating that you can create the reality you're dreaming of, though it will take some work and you're not quite there yet. This is a time of energies rising up. Emotions are building too. Where do you want to go, and do you believe you can get there? Either you can just keep meditating and focusing on your desired outcome, or you can make the courageous commitment to take more practical steps towards your goals. Whichever you decide, you are most certainly on the right track. So, attuned to the moon. I know I'm headed in the right direction. Now remember, the difference between a waning moon and a waxing moon. A waxing moon is when you're at the new moon, the dark moon, right? There's nothing in the sky, but you can see the outline-ish, right? When you get to the new moon and you're heading towards the full moon, that is a waxing moon. Okay? When you are in the full moon going down into a new moon where the moon starts to disappear, that's the waning moon. So if you're Karate Kid fans, just think wax on, right? Because you're waxing it, everything on. You're putting the wax on and then wane off. That sounds so bad. Which is actually wax off, wax on, wax off. But wane off means that it's disappearing. So waxing, full, going towards full, waning, going towards nothing or darkness. Let's see. Additional meanings for this card. The situation is full of potential. Ooh, August might be a good month. Your dream can come true. You have to believe and trust. Okay, trust is so hard, but you have to believe and trust. More effort is yet required. Are you willing to give it? Are you willing to give it? Review your goals and ensure you're still committed. Keep moving forward. Ho'omau. Ho'omau. Keep moving forward. Perseverance. It's right there. Ho'omau. So the teaching, the waxing cycle, the waxing cycle is the period of the lunar cycle from new moon to full moon. And during this time, the moon appears to be slightly bigger and rounder every night. This is a very empowered and empowering time, and this is a very promising card. It suggests now is the time to make plans and to act on them, no matter when you actually pull this card. So there you go. We'll go back to the Moonology deck tomorrow. I will look up to see which full moon it is tomorrow, and let's get rolling. So we got self-care. Okay, self-care Wednesday. Oh, I don't know if baby sibling's on yet, but happy hump day, hump day, hump day, hump day. Now, I'm not sure if anyone's noticed. I'm sure you have, but just in case. Oh, there she is. Good morning, baby sibling. Happy hump day. Hump day, hump day, hump day. So I just did that. So we just did the Moonology cards since tomorrow is a full moon. And I like the idea of both cards about breathing in, breathing out. Good morning, older sibling. Breathing in, breathing out, taking that time, making sure that you're still on the goals that you want to attain, okay? But now as we move in, and those kind of really do fit into the self-love thing, whether you feel you are ready or not for the lessons of, 30 lessons of self-love starting Monday, I say join in anyways. Because like I said, this is going to be the third time I've done this, and this is probably the most ready I've ever felt. But I'm also nervous and I'm also scared because although it's going to, I think, be a little more fun than the gratitude quotes that were done, the 28 lessons of gratitude, it is going to ask people questions. It is going to dive deep. And we can give the surface answer, how we're feeling at the moment, or we can take each question and really, really dig in. Okay, so before I get to the cards, okay, I'm going to pull some more of the affirmator cards. As I mentioned yesterday, I've already pulled them. I've shuffled them. I have no idea what cards are in what order. I don't even know what this card is unless I slow it down or you slow it down, because I haven't looked. I've chosen not to look. I just keep them to the side so that we're kind of surprised together. I mean, yeah, I pulled them purposely, but to be honest with you, I kind of pulled them and then put them aside and just wiped it from my mind, because I think this is something that we're all going to be going through together. Now, for anybody who hasn't noticed, I'm not wearing makeup today. Yes, I did my hair, because otherwise it would be a hot mess, because my curls were in every direction. The only thing I have on is moisturizer and chapstick, because it's hot AF out here, and I can already feel, I mean, I have the AC on, but I can already feel the dryness. So, not that you needed that, but I didn't even put on the special Daily Vibe glasses today. I kept on my regular ones, which are usually the ones I forget to take off, and then we just roll with it anyways. But one of the reasons I did this was I was feeling uber lazy this morning. I'm like, I don't want to do my makeup. But then I thought, well, that's weird, because I usually don't mind. I don't wear a lot, so it doesn't take much. It doesn't take very long. But then I thought, you know what? I think this would be the perfect lessons for self-love. How often have we been like, I can't go outside unless I do my makeup? And that's okay if that's you. But one of the challenges I want to put forth before we start the lessons of self-love is to love yourself exactly how you roll out of bed every morning. Okay? Most people don't wear makeup to bed that I know of, unless you pass out. And I don't mean pass out because you're drunk. I mean, sometimes people just lay down for a second and bam, it's morning again. I have done that. But my whole goal is to try to teach us how to see who we are in the base of who we are. To look in the mirror and claim yourself to be handsome or beautiful or smart or delightful before you start to put on this image that you want the world to see. Because that is part of the foundation of self-love, in my perspective. That is, what I think the basis of self-love is. What's in here is what shines out. And what's in here is what makes everything on the outside acceptable. Because, we've seen what we would consider social media friendly faces, okay? I think I just made that up myself, but because I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to be offensive across the board. I really don't. So what, society deems perfect, right? And then sometimes they just have the meanest personality, or sometimes you might see this person who's just, you might consider an average person, just sweetest demeanor, look like they have the sweetest demeanor, and then they're a bitch, or they're an asshole, or they're a dick, whatever you want to call them. And you're just kind of like, wow, I totally misjudged that. A lot of times it's because when we put on whatever it is we put on, whether you wear makeup or not, or you have to fix your hair a certain way. I dated somebody whose hair was so perfect all the time. I mean, their mom was a hairdresser. So he even had one of those things that you put over your face so you can spray your hair. I didn't even know those things existed. But he was a huge fan. Well, this is kind of dating myself here, but he was a huge fan of Morrissey when Morrissey was younger. So the hair had to be perfect. It had to be, Morrissey hair. But anyways, that was my first boyfriend. And I was just like, but I started to see a different side. And that I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, I have to remind myself to be kind every single day. But I wanted to go plain. I'm not ashamed. I mean, I know I wear makeup, but I like to wear makeup. but I didn't put any eyebrow pencils on, which surprisingly this light actually shows them. So, you know, I really don't need them. The only reason I started using an eyebrow pencil was because the other light I used kind of washed them out. But I go out like this sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes I'll just put on mascara. There were times at work where, you know, a coworker of mine and I would just agree that sometimes all you need is a good mascara and a good lipstick, and you're good to go. A lot of times we put everything on, whether, you know, man or woman or whatever you identify as, because we think that's what the world wants to see. We think that's what makes us acceptable. But the person you need to worry about the most is the person you look at in the mirror. The person whose reflection you catch every day you brush your teeth, wash your face, brush your hair, whatever you're doing in the mirror. How often do we actually stop to look at ourselves? That is a huge point in self-love, is seeing who you are, seeing the person on the inside and the outside, loving the person on the outside. You may have the most beautiful inside and may absolutely hate the outside. I have moments like that. I have moments where I can be very self-deprecating. Sometimes I feel like I get ahead of people by making body jokes about myself. And I've been caught by a lot of people and told to stop that. And I've been doing my best to do so. But a lot of times it's because we become so conditioned to people making comments about our size, whether you're thick or thin, that you just feel like you're getting ahead of somebody and trying to make a joke out of it because it makes you feel like it hurts less. But all you're doing is really reinforcing what you're already afraid of becoming. You're reinforcing the bad and the negative thoughts. And that's what I really want to dispel with this self-love lesson we're going to be going through. And that's why I'm bringing this up today on self-care, because I want everybody to take that time today and to look at yourself in the mirror and, you know, just tell yourself that you love yourself 5 billion times until you actually believe it. Okay, sorry, I forgot. I'm sitting here like, why are my glasses crooked? But I forgot my ears are lopsided. So, and no, that's not putting myself down. That is just a legit fact. In fact, I think one eye is higher than the other. I don't know. It's weird. But, as older sibling would always tell me, she's all, no face is proportional. So anyways, I also have some positive affirmations that I have 50 of them. We've already gone through 10. Sorry, we've already gone through 15. So we're about to do the next 5. And I picked these specifically. They're actually farther into the list than we've been so far because I have been going in order. But I think these are going to help with setting the foundation of self-love. All right. So number 1, I believe in myself. Okay. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to take a beat and give you the chance to say it to yourself. I believe in myself. Number 2, I am proud of myself. Number 3, I deserve to be happy. Number 4, I am free to make my own choices. And number 5, I deserve to be loved. All right, I'm going to put these in the comments on YouTube and on Facebook. All right, so let's get to some of these affirmators cards before we end up in a 2-hour long perspective today. Ooh, levity. Let's bring some joy to this shindig. Laughter is the best legal medicine, and it looks like it's time for you to take a sweet, sweet hit of it. When someone annoys you or a plan goes awry, try finding something funny in there. And if you ever feel like the butt of the joke, remember that the only difference between someone laughing at you and someone laughing with you is that in the first version, you're not laughing. You always have the option, so opt to lighten it up. It's legal in almost 200 countries. All right, so again, laughter is the best legal medicine, and it looks like it's time for you to take a sweet, sweet hit of it. When someone annoys you or a plan goes awry, try finding something funny in there. And if you ever feel like the butt of the joke, remember that the only difference between someone laughing at you and someone laughing with you is that in the first version, you're not laughing. You always have the option, so opt to lighten up. It's legal in almost 200 countries. it is okay to, be the butt of the joke every so often. But if someone's making fun of your appearance, you may want to nip that in the bud, because that ain't funny. I'm sorry. I may need to lighten up a bit there, but I've been the butt of the jokes when I've been thin, and I've been the butt of the jokes when I've been heavier. And I always laughed along. But the problem with that is that it made them think it was okay to keep doing it. And people putting you down is not okay. Now, if it's something dumb that you did that is just funny, I'll give you some examples. Billions of years ago, I was out with my cousins. I'm about to date myself again. Planet Hollywood had just opened in San Diego. Okay, at a shopping mall that is no longer in existence. It was one of my. I was out with my cousins that night, and my cousin's girlfriend at the time, very, very serious. And I used to be very, very serious too. And I remember I kept rocking back and forth on my chair. And it was a wood chair on a wood laminated floor. All right, so you can see where this is going. And it wasn't rocking backwards, it was rocking forward. I just kept leaning forward in my chair. And I have a very bad habit of sitting on the edge, the front edge of my chair. And it went out from underneath me. And in that moment, I thought, do I want to be this person who seems so miserable at this table sitting across from me? Or do I want to just laugh? And I literally was on my ass, and I just kind of fell over, and I started laughing. And I started laughing so hard because it was the funniest freaking thing ever. It's like, what dumbass? Well, I was obviously younger, but what dumbass does that? Right? Just right out from underneath me. And it reminded me of a time when my family and I had gone bowling, because it's our big thing after Thanksgiving. And I had overstepped the line, and they had just oiled the lanes, all limbs in the air. I will say this. The family next to us gave me a 10. My family gave me a solid 8. Okay. I almost switched families that day. Right? It was pretty good. It was worthy of an 11, if that even counted. But I laughed because that was funny. Because what was I going to do? Was I going to be a brat about it? Was I going to throw a tantrum? Was I going to cry? No. It was funny. And a lot of times people laugh because they're nervous. Believe it or not, a lot of times people laugh because they're nervous. It's not always because it's funny. My mom was a nervous laugher. And she actually told me, she's like, I don't know what else to do. And she's all, because she would always feel bad if I hurt myself. But it's like, because there'd be times when I'm just stupid and I leave a cabinet open, I stand up and bam. And she wouldn't know what to do. So she was, and it's actually a thing. There are nervous laughers because they don't know what else to do. And they freak out. So they start laughing because it's just some weird thing inside of them. And so sometimes I think when bad things happen to us and people start laughing, sometimes I think people are just assholes. But most people, I think it's because they're nervous laughers and they don't know what to do. So to make them feel comfortable, I just started laughing. But I started laughing because I thought I could be a jerk and be stupid, or I can make this a funny moment. And I did. It was like slapstick, but not on purpose. And there have been many Shelley moments that have followed since then. But there's a picture next to Klutz. It's mine. But that's what we can do. But I will draw the line at people making fun of weight, or how somebody looks, or somebody's demeanor, because people just want to feel good about themselves, and that's our job. Our job is to help people feel good about themselves, to reinforce our self-love. We have to show other people they are worthy of their own self-love. All right, so it's my little side note there. Anyway, commitment. I pulled this card because you need to make a commitment if you want to do self-love. Self-love requires a commitment, because it's like the Oscar Wilde quote says yesterday that I read. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance. It is a relationship between you and yourself. And that's where self-love comes in. Do you want to be the kind of relationship where you're constantly putting yourself down, or where you're constantly building yourself up? Remember, self-love is a desirable characteristic, not a narcissistic characteristic. I will be doing my best to reinforce that as well. That is in the dictionary. It is a desirable characteristic. Self-love is not over-loving yourself, saying you're the best, I'm this, I'm that, and, just trying to convince other people. Self-love comes inside. I mean, yeah, there's confidence to it. And if you want to be confident, you go right out there and you be confident. But you don't fish for compliments. You don't sit there and say, oh, I'm so pretty today, right? No, you wait for someone to say it. And, then you say thank you. But a lot of times when people are fishing for those compliments, it's because they don't feel the self-love. They don't feel this worthiness of themselves, so they have to seek it outside of themselves. All right, so commitment. I willingly accept that it's safe to topple my walls and commit completely to a relationship, your relationship with you. It might be one that's already here or one that's on the way. Okay, well, this is the love and relationships deck, but we'll just keep it at self-love. Either way, those walls have to go. Without them, I can go further, feel freer, and love bigger than ever before. Bonus, no walls means I'll save a lot of money on picture frames. Seriously, you will also have nothing to hold up your roof. I'm being literal, but anyways. But you know what? We will tie this in. We will tie relationships into self-love. I willingly accept that it's safe to topple my walls and commit completely to a relationship. It might be one that's already here or one that's on the way. Either way, those walls have to go. Without them, I can go further, feel freer, and love bigger than ever before. When you commit to self-love to yourself, you are opening doorways for other people to love you, whether it's a romantic relationship, again, familial relationships, friendships, business partnerships. There is a sense of camaraderie, even with coworkers. They may not love you in the typical sense, but you are opening yourself to being that charming, wonderful, loving human being that you are capable of being. Because there is self-worth, there is self-respect. We're always going to have these moments where we have the self-doubt, but we can stab that. A terrible metaphor, but we can just punch that in the face with self-love. We can remove that self-doubt because we can say, hey, you know what? I am capable of doing this. I am capable of all these things, even if I don't know how to do it yet. Someone will teach me if I open my mouth and ask. When we get jobs, we're not expected to know everything. We're expected to learn along the way and pick it up. Make notes if you have to. I mean, I literally have, from my last job, I had a whole notebook explaining my job. And nobody ever took the time to look at it. And I don't think they found it until way after they redistributed all my, responsibilities elsewhere. But it was a pretty thick book. But I also used those notes for me because sometimes it was like, oh my God, it's been so long since I've done this. How do I do this? And then flip, right back there. And I'm very efficient. Page covers and everything. All right. So anyway. Oh, so I picked this up. This is my 60th anniversary Disney cup from Starbucks. But I forgot to wish the Haunted Mansion a happy 53rd birthday yesterday. So one of my favorite rides at Disneyland, the Haunted Mansion. So anyways, that's a side note for all you kids. Fun fact, Disneyland fun fact. Yesterday was Haunted Mansion's 53rd. Why do I want to say 51st? 53rd anniversary. So, when you can commit to your self-love, it will probably help you commit more, especially in a romantic relationship. I don't know this yet, have not been in one since I've healed. I have not been in a relationship for a very, 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 very long time. Have not dated, have not done any of that. I could be very cliche and said I've been finding myself, but in a way it's not cliche at all. It's kind of really what's been happening. It's just I feel like a nun now. But sorry, there's this shit that pops out of my mouth. But I do know that when I am fortunate enough, and I know that the universe knows, my higher powers know when the right time will be for me. Because I really do feel there's somebody out there for me. And when that happens, it will be nervous. It will be nerve-wracking for me. I will be nervous, but it's because it's been a long time since I've been in a relationship. But I'll be coming at it from a different direction. I won't be coming at it from a place where, please desire me, please love me, please want me so I can feel good about myself. It'll be like, hey, let's do this. Let's go have fun. Let's do the things. Because I will be coming from a place of self-love. And when I start to fall apart and I start to have these doubts, I'll remember that self-love is right there. It is my shield and sword. And it will help me battle all the negative thoughts, all the ego thoughts that yammer away in our ears. So, pleasure. You knew that one was coming up, right? Pleasure. But it's not just about that. Look. Oh my God, that's hilarious. The bubbles. Look at the bubbles. All right, look at I'm going to hold this up for a second while you can look at the bubbles. 2 of them are holding violins. All right, and one is just doing a somersault. And that one doing the somersault right there, he's just having a good old time. Like a super good old time, right? They're enjoying themselves. I love it though. And oh, and look, I didn't even notice this one. This little bubble is fanning the person in the bathtub. That is hilarious with that little palm leaf, right? So pleasure is a lot of things. It can be sexual. It could be visual. It could be audio. Is that even a word? It could be audio type of thing. Just making up words as I go here. You see, this is the kind of stuff that happens when I'm just being myself, just the random crap that comes out of my face. But it could be any of those types of things. I mean, think about it, right? Well, let's go back to Disneyland, all right, just for a second. The Haunted Mansion. I love the Haunted Mansion. All right, it's in my top 2. My top 2 favorites are, I know, you're going to laugh, Small World and Haunted Mansion. For 2 reasons. Number 1, they're just fun. And I love Small World. I know it drives people nuts and it drives people crazy. But the second good reason for Small World is when it is fucking hot outside and you go in there, it is 15 minutes of air conditioning. Okay, so you got to listen to a bunch of kids singing a bunch of songs in several different languages. Get over it. It's fun. It's fun. When you allow yourself to immerse into it and not hate it so much like a lot of people do, it can actually be very enjoyable. And I love it. It reminds me of peace and harmony and joy and love. That's why I love Small World. Haunted Mansion, it's my dark side. It's like the Small World for Shelley's evil side. But it's not even evil. It's just fun. And it's, but it also because it used to scare the shit out of me until I was like, 14. All right? 14 is the first time I ever opened my eyes in that ride. But I love that ride. And I don't know why. It's fun for me. It feels like maybe it was something that I finally just hurdled when I was a kid. But I have a lot of fun memories on that ride with my parents. One time my mom and I got stuck on that ride. And in a really weird spot. For anybody that's familiar, when you're coming backwards down into the graveyard scene, we got stuck right in the middle. Like literally leaning back like this. Good times. But that could be a visual pleasure. Roller coasters. People love roller coasters because it makes you feel like, wow. That's another type of pleasure. Pleasure isn't just about sex. Pleasure isn't just about orgasms or feeling great during, personal acts. I don't know what you want. Intimate acts. There you go. And also, pleasure doesn't need to have somebody else in the room with you. All right? So last week I giggled my way through that. But this week, I'm not. Because it's an honest feeling. It's an honest emotion. It's an honest act. It's an intimate act. And, for people like me who've suffered through trauma, sometimes it's what's gotten us to where we have gotten now. Because it's a trust thing. If I can learn to trust myself, I can learn to use my spidey instincts and trust other people. There are things I will probably have to work with when I do have a partner again. And I'm hoping that they will be kind and patient enough to understand that it will be really like a first time for me. Because it'll be the first time that I'm in a better frame of mind. I'm in a healed state of mind. And, oh yeah, older sibling. And one of the architects. I do. He was not one of the architects of the ride itself, of going back to the Haunted Mansion. Sorry, I know. Just, again, the stuff that comes out of my brain. I'm like, squirrel. But I do know one of the architects, very indirectly, but one of the architects that actually designed the house at Disneyland was older siblings, Uncle Gene. That's right. So, there you go. So, let's read about pleasure. All right? I still can't get over these bubbles. They're so cute. But anyways, I give myself permission to feel pleasure, and I let that pleasure rush into my life in a decadent display of the over the top abundance. Then I realize that pleasure has been waiting at my door for a long time. It's just that pleasure doesn't knock on doors because loud noises aren't super pleasant. Anybody watch Big Bang Theory? Benny. For anyone with OCD, here's a third one. Benny. So, you know, I really should not have caffeine when I do this show. She says as she takes another sip. But honestly, this isn't the caffeine. I got a lot of sleep last night. I'm feeling really good about myself. I'm just feeling like me. And the reason I have to feel like me is because how can I promote a foundation for self-love if I don't honestly show it? You know? So, again, pleasure. I give myself permission to feel pleasure, and I let that pleasure rush into my life in a decadent display of over-the-top abundance. Then I realize that pleasure has been waiting at my door for a long time. It's just that pleasure doesn't knock on doors because loud noises aren't super pleasant. You know what else I noticed? The little tiny mice are holding her wine glass. See? Over the top abundance. It's like Cinderella. It's a redheaded Cinderella. Oh no, she's got a towel on her head. So it's just Cinderella sitting in the tub, letting everything just comfort and guide her. But that's what pleasure is. Pleasure is what makes you feel good inside and outside. It's what tingles your brain. All right? It's what tingles your soul and your heart. And again, a lot of people, when we hear the word pleasure, we think sex. We think intimacy. But I mean, you've heard people talk about pleasure cruises, you know, or when you say thank you, people are my pleasure. It's what makes people happy. It's what brings joy to people. So, yeah, some different ways to look at it. Open-heartedness. I know that life and the people living it can be an absolute bummer sometimes, but I promise not to let unhappy chapters make me jaded. If I let negative experiences turn me sour, then the jerks win. So I'll move on with an open and hopeful heart, if only because I hate losing to jerks. There you go. It's a little bookworm going, you know what? I don't like this chapter. I'm moving to the next one. You have the choice of what gets to be in your life and what does not. What brings you love, what brings you joy, what brings you pleasure, what brings you happiness. If things do not bring you happiness and you have tried to work things out with whatever does not bring you happiness, then maybe it's time to move forward. Sometimes people learn after they're left behind. And it's not something that feels good. It's not something that we take joy in or take pleasure in. But you have to think of your self-love first. You have to think of your heart and your soul. You cannot give from an empty place. You cannot give from an empty cup. Your cup has to be full. So again, I know that life and the people living it can be an absolute bummer sometimes, but I promise not to let unhappy chapters make me jaded. If I let negative experiences turn me sour, then the jerks win. So I'll move on with an open and hopeful heart, if only because I hate losing to jerks. The other way you can look at that is there are things in life that are going to happen. We talked about trauma a little bit yesterday. And we may not be able to rid ourselves and our minds of the trauma that happened, but we can recalibrate, I don't know what other word to use, our minds and our thoughts to, again, find that self-love within. Use it as a shield and a sword to battle down whatever it is that's trying to hold you back. Yesterday I talked about how I'm ready to grow, how I'm ready to move forward with the self-love and all this and that, and my back almost went out. And that was after I stopped the show and I felt the center of my lower back start to roll. Now, I'm a firm believer in how emotions can cause things. And I know that's not everybody's belief, but I'm going to share this because it was in the number 17 spot, so I looked it up. And it says, Unwilling to Be Happy. And I remember talking yesterday, or maybe it was the day before. No, I think it was yesterday, about how my inner floof is struggling with moving forward, right? It's about, it was yesterday, because I talked about how we have this, like, this little inner beast inside of us that feels like it's cornered, feels like it's trapped, right? And just trying to claw its way out, but you're in the way. Because it wants to take over. It doesn't like being minimized. It doesn't like being made to feel small. But you're in charge. And I misspoke when I said we need to beat it down. No. The best way is, right after that, I took that back and I said to sit down in a chair in front of this and talk it out of the corner. To talk it slowly out of the corner. Then I went into my whole diatribe about therapy. Because therapy is great. If you want it. That's your choice. It's a personal choice. But those were the tools I did learn on how to not just combat something, but to really kind of sit there and coax it out with patience and understanding and compassion. Show a lot of empathy. And you're thinking, how do I show myself a lot of compassion, love, joy, and empathy? You be there for yourself. When you start to have an ugly thought in your mind, you start to replace it with better things. Or, that's not me anymore. When I was a hurt person, I hurt people. And it wasn't intentional. And I didn't do anything vindictive. What would happen is that I would get combative. Not physically, but, verbally. I would get angry. I'd get defensive. That was my thing. I would get defensive. And then I would make myself a victim, which I wasn't. Victim of circumstance, maybe. But I had to choose between being a thriving person or a victimized person. I was a person who was victimized. But I didn't want to live there anymore. I wanted to thrive. I wanted to be more than just a survivor. I wanted to be a thriver. And those are 3 phases I had to work through. It took a while to get from this place to where I'm at now. And even now, it's still a work in progress. Self-love is not easy for me. It may seem like it to some people because I talk about it, and maybe I even sound like I know what I'm talking about. But I've read a lot of books, and I've done a lot of soul searching, and I've written quite a few pages on this stuff. And these are my experiences. These are my perspectives, and that's why I share it. Because, eventually it might hit someone else between the eyes besides me. So, let's see. We have a few more. Ooh. Today is pleasure day. Today is pleasure day. Sensuality. There we go. Embracing sensuality doesn't necessarily mean you're a middle-aged swinger. It simply means you're savoring one of the coolest aspects of being alive, sensory input. It's time to get decadent and reward yourself with gifts for the senses. You could drop a wad of cash on champagne and chocolate, or you could tune in and enjoy the incredible gifts around you. The taste of an orange, the sound of the forest, the texture of corduroy. It's a snarky deck, all right? I don't know your life. The point is, it's time to savor what your senses can grab hold of, even if that means you're being sensual. And then it says gross in the little thing. I think it meant that in the pleasurable way, or the intimate way. So, like I said, these cards are snarky. They're meant to be funny and, self-helpy without the self-helpiness. So again, embracing sensuality doesn't necessarily mean you're a middle-aged swinger. It simply means you're savoring one of the coolest aspects of being alive, sensory input. It's time to get decadent and reward yourself with gifts for the senses. You could drop a wad of cash on champagne and chocolate, or you could tune in and enjoy the incredible gifts around you. The taste of an orange, the sound of the forest, the texture of whatever. I don't know your life. The point is, it's time to savor whatever your senses can grab hold of, even if that means you're being sensual. Gross. So, sensuality is a lot of different things. Now, if you want to go in on it with pleasure, think about the people that have done blindfolds, right? Or who have done the masking of the things, and used feathers or used something soft when you're being intimate with someone or even yourself. But it's not just about intimacy. Think about the times that, you've just kind of had maybe, like, I don't know anyone that, well, I sometimes sleep with a sleep mask. Okay, sometimes, depends. But I do notice something when I'm sleeping with a sleep mask, because a little bit of light does come into my room at night. So, and I can hear sometimes through the wall siblings' TV. But what's interesting is, if there's times when I'll just be laying in bed and, there's, like I said, there's still a little bit of light that comes in from the outside. And when I have the sleep mask on, everything gets heightened. Everything gets heightened. I can hear better. I sense things more. And it's about that. It's about what you can hear, what you smell, all these different things. Try it sometimes, and then when you take off the blindfold, that's your last sense, right? Touch, taste, smell, hearing, seeing. When you take the blindfold off, it might be a little bright at first, but be grateful, because not everybody can take that blindfold off. Some people have a permanent one on. So imagine all the colors and beautiful sensory input that you have that they may not have. Think about all the things you can hear. I have a friend who's hearing impaired, and I always wonder, I don't wonder, but I do sometimes feel sad that people can't hear the things I can hear, or see the things I can see, or smell the things I can smell, touch the things I can touch. There are people in the world that have no touch, have no feeling in their hands. So these are things to be grateful for. But in sensuality, this is why sometimes they use these things, because it heightens that experience. But again, it's like it said, sensuality isn't just about intimacy. It can be about, when you drink that, beverage, whatever it is, across the board, even water. Or when you taste something, or when you're eating a nice chocolate, maybe someone bought you a nice box of chocolates. Slow down and take the time to taste it, to smell it, to really kind of feel it on your palate. All those things. That's what foodies do. Okay, foodies, they take their time through this stuff. I mean, it is like a sensual experience for some of them. I mean, we don't go, oh my God, this is so good, for no reason. I mean, I can't remember. I was somewhere recently and I ate something and I was like, oh my God, this is wow. Oh, it was, okay, believe it or not, it was at Starbucks. And I was having coffee with one of my really, really good friends. She's like family to me. And we were talking about her trip to see her boyfriend. And the woman comes out from behind the counter and says, hey, I have free samples. I want to try one. And she just walks right over to our table, and it's the almond croissant. And I was like, but, she's like, no, really. She's all, try one. So she wasn't going to go away until we tried one. And oh my God, I thought there was I told my friend, I said, wait. And she's like, are you okay? She's all, do you like it? And I said, there's a party happening on my tongue right now. All my little taste buds are they're having a party. Because it was that good. But, when it's small, you don't just shove it in your mouth, right? You want to taste it. Somebody took the time to stop by your table and convince you to try this thing. So you want to really kind of give it your all. And I did. And wow, I was not disappointed. So, sensuality is a lot more than intimacy. Boundless love. Today I'll open my eyes a little wider and walk a little taller, noticing that the world around me is filled with tiny miracles. With this in mind, it's easy to fall in love over and over again with everything from honeybees to neon signs. And while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. So again, and today, this is a good practice for your self-love. Today I'll open my eyes a little wider and walk a little taller, noticing that the world around me is filled with tiny miracles. With this in mind, it's easy to fall in love over and over again with everything from honeybees to neon signs. And while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. It's not always about showing love to another person, a family member. It's about loving everything around you. The clothes you're wearing, the glasses you're wearing, maybe your hair, your eyes, the feeling of the grass underneath your feet, right? The feeling of the sand before it gets super hot and burns your feet. But the feeling of the water if you live near the ocean, when it just kind of laps over your ankles and says, woohoo. And the way you kind of sink, right, into the sand, or the way you can feel the sand kind of hitting the back of your ankles. This is obviously a memory of mine because I do not live far from the beach. I don't live next to it, but I live close. But, or maybe you put on your favorite song and you just hear it going, right? It's those kind of things. It's this boundless love for everything around you. When you start to see and feel self-love, things start to look different around you. Now, I said that this will be the third time I'm doing self-love, but this isn't, so obviously this is not the first time. And the reason I say that is because every single time something has stuck with me. And I notice things more. I feel things more. What I'm hoping to get out of the self-love this time is for it to stick. For it to give me that shield and that sword that I need to fight off the bad thoughts that like to haunt me, that like to come back and say, hey, we're here to kind of mess you up a little. Because I want to be stronger than that. I want to really, really solidify this feeling of self-love. And that's where boundless love comes in. When you struggle to feel love for yourself, go outside and remind yourself of everything you do love. Your family, your friends, maybe you're in a relationship, your job, if you love your job, the people you work with, or, the fizz stick in your drink, or the cup. I love this cup. Look how pretty it is, right? See, exactly. It kind of sparkles. Whatever, your journal. The fact that in the back of this book, it actually has a golden ticket. People think I'm stupid, but you know what? I don't care, because that made me excited. It was super exciting to find that, because I owned that journal for about 6 or 7 months before I even realized there was a pocket in the back. So, it's those kind of things that really just kind of spark our excitement and our joy and bring us to life. All right, so let's do one more card. Actually, yeah, we'll do one more card. Honesty. This heralds a wonderful time of rooting yourself in complete and total honesty. It might seem scary to tell the truth all the time with everyone about everything, but when you practice radical honesty, you can stop hiding and start relaxing. The best part is, honesty from you inspires honesty from others. What results is a root and toot and trust parade, and everyone's invited, except, it says except the bagpipe players, but they'll show up, and I like bagpipes. I've liked those since I was a kid. Come on. I'm not reading that part again. That's just rude. But I'm going to read this again, and then I'm going to share something. Because some people are like, well, I'm honest with people and blah, blah, blah. But we'll get to that in a second. So again, honesty. This heralds a wonderful time of rooting yourself in complete and total honesty. It might seem scary to tell the truth all the time with everyone about everything. But when you practice radical honesty, you can stop hiding and start relaxing. The best part is, honesty from you inspires honesty from others. What results is a root and toot and trust parade, and everyone's invited. Now, you may think, but I was honest with someone, then they got mad at me. Were you honest, or was it your opinion? There's a difference. The honesty they're talking about in this is being honest with yourself. Do you lie about things? Do you lie about how great your job is, or that what you do in your job? I know someone, but not personally. And I have someone that vents to me about them all the time. Because they're just like, this person is just lie after lie after lie. Well, when you lie and you lie and you lie, you have to cover up these lies. And then you keep lying, and it's a big parade of lies. But then what happens? You start to stress out. Because you're afraid someone's going to find out. Then the lie keeps going, and, it's like, oh, how am I going to make this happen? How am I going to make this happen because I've said this lie and this lie has a time limit on it? But when you're honest, people see it. It changes your vibe. It changes the way you look because you're not stressing out all the time. Stress can cause a lot of problems. It can cause skin problems. It can cause physical problems. It can cause a lot of stuff. But when you're honest about who you are, when you have self-love, you own who you are. You own your makeup. You own the person that people see every day. You just own yourself. You own who you are. I know I said that, but I'm saying it again. Because that's what's most important, is being okay with who you are, loving who you are, showing that respect for who you are. When you start to lie, you are disrespecting yourself and you are disrespecting the person you are lying to. And again, when you sit there and say, well, I was honest with so-and-so. Now, question is, maybe you did share something, but was it yours to share? Was it yours to share? Or were you just so unhappy that you wanted somebody else to hurt along with you? You wanted to break somebody else down to make yourself feel better and your situation better. Honesty can hurt. Okay? But the honesty this card is talking about is who you are. It's about being honest with yourself. It's about being transparent about who you are and who you want to be and who you want the world to see. Do you want the world to see somebody who's fake and then one day they find out the truth because you don't have the strength anymore to hide who you might be? Or do you just want to be the person that, is lovable, is charming, that doesn't have to pretend to be somebody else? If you have to pretend to be somebody else to impress the people you're with, you might want to rethink the people you're with. And I'm being honest with you. Or you might want to be yourself and give them a little bit more credit that they would like you anyway. Sometimes you got to look at both sides. You got to look at both sides. Just be yourself. Then you don't have to worry about it. You will attract the right people. And like I said, if you start to be yourself and they still don't, and they decide not to jive with you, find a new set of people. But like I said, also give them a chance because you never know. They may see you and you may not. And they've just been waiting for you to show who you really are. They've just been waiting for you to have your unveiling party. Because some of them might say, I knew you were in there all along. I was just waiting for you to see you. Okay? So, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. We'll finish up the cards tomorrow. We got another 7 to go. We'll have to do them fast because I got an appointment tomorrow. But, I know, maybe we'll start a little early. I don't know. I might start a little early. I may start at 8:30. So, whatever happens, happens. Yeah, so I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day today. Remember these cards, okay? We had levity, so laugh it up. Commitment to self-love. Pleasure. Find pleasure in your self-love. However way you want to take that. Open-heartedness. It's okay to be who you want. It's okay to walk away from situations that are bad. Sensuality. Open your senses. However you want to take that. Boundless love. Love yourself. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. And love everything around you. Like I said, when you struggle with loving yourself, find things around you that you can love to bring yourself back to your self-love. And honesty. Be honest with who you are. Be honest with as the person that you are. Because you were born you. You were lovable. You were charming and adorable and amazing and great looking inside and out. And that's what you have to remember. Look yourself in the face later, sometime today, and keep telling yourself you love you. I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, or I love you. Just say I love you to the person in the mirror until you feel that spark. All right? So, I will see everybody back here tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I doubt it will start earlier, so we'll just plow through these cards really fast tomorrow. So again, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Facebook Live. Under Shelly Marie Lucas. It is public. Anybody can watch, or you can catch me on a replay on YouTube under the Aloha Perspective with Shelly Marie Lucas. If you do watch there, please click and subscribe. Why not, right? It'll tell you that I'm coming on, that I have posted a video. Tomorrow will be things to think on Thursday. All right, so we'll finish up the self-love foundation, and then we should get ready to roll right into Monday and the 30 lessons of self-love. Right, I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.